Welcome to the SBA podcast, the official podcast of the School of Business Administration at Andrews University. Here, we dive deep into the conversations with our esteemed faculty, successful alumni, and ambitious students about their internship experiences.
Hey guys, so welcome back to the SBA podcast. Today we're doing another internship interview, and today I have
Paulette.
Hi Paulette. What's your full name?
My name is Paulette Velasquez, Vega.
Okay. All right, Paulette. So tell the people how old are you, what's your major, and where did you intern?
So I'm currently 22. I just turned 22 in November. My major is, I'm double majoring in business management and Spanish translation, and I interned this past summer at AdventHealth.
Okay. So when you were doing your internship, what was the title of your internship?
Yeah, so I was a leadership intern, management, the management track. Yeah.
Okay. So, was this your first internship? Was this your second internship? Tell us a little bit more about.
So it was my first internship with like a bigger company, which I really enjoyed because it was a different experience, especially like kind of seeing the corporate world closer and also understanding the management side, which was really cool.
Okay, that's really great. So, I guess when you were doing your internship, so tell us about your day-to-day. Tell us about what that was like. When you were doing. Were you in Orlando or were you in Chicago?
So I was in Chicago,
Okay.
with some other Andrews people, which was really nice to have people that I already knew.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually worked with our resident advisors who built specific tracks for all of us. So every day, it was kind of something different. Like there were days where we were rotating through surgery. There were days where we were shadowing like the CEO, the CFO. Other days we were working on projects that we were assigned throughout the summer. And other days we could also choose like what department we wanted to shadow. So I chose to shadow like in HR, but also I wanted to see more the orthopedic surgery side, which was really cool. To be able to walk in and see surgeries was really amazing for me. I really enjoyed seeing that, especially from the management side and how understanding how, everything works actually helps you understand the management side better.
Okay. So would you say that, were there any things, in your internship that you just said, about the management side, that you learned while you were in school? That then probably helped you as well now as intern.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially I remember my management classes with Dr. McGuad. There's a lot of concepts that you see kind of, from the textbook, you see it unveil firsthand in person, how they lead out meetings, the operations side also from Dr. Chi's class, which is very good to be able to understand that in person and actually see how the textbook applies in real life. And it gives you a better understanding also of what's happening rather than just showing up and being confused in the moment, which was really nice to have that. And I think the School of Business really prepared me for that internship, which was really nice.
That's good. Do you feel like, so I know you're an inactive president.
Yes.
Do you feel like your internship has been able to help you now as a leader?
Oh, definitely. Especially when it comes to teamwork. I know the internship was a lot of teamwork, working with lots of different people, being able to speak to people that I didn't know, and just going up to them, requesting a meeting or scheduling a lunch with a CEO just to understand more, a lot of the leadership aspects, a lot of the effective communication. And I think all of that really made this year in Enactus a lot better, especially when communicating with my team, understanding, leading out meetings, even creating like agendas that you don't really think about that beforehand. But once you're like in an actual meeting with like the CEO and the CFO, you're like, okay, so we have to have an agenda. We have to follow through with this. Everybody has to be aware. And even like delegating a lot of things, I feel like, especially as leaders, sometimes you think you have to do everything, but in reality, that's not really that effective. Instead, you have to tell people, okay, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do, and kind of letting them also have autonomy in what they do and be able to develop their own leadership. And that, I think, has been amazing. And I really think I developed a lot of that from my internship, which was amazing.
That's good. So you're talking about teams and like working in teams for your internship. So relationship-wise with, say, other interns or, say, people that you worked with, how was it for you? because this is your first time in a bigger company, did you have, cold feet about like, just interacting with people? Did you just go to work, or did you go to work and, make friends? Like, did you make any new connections outside of, say, the students that were already, that you already knew? How was that for you?
I think at first it was nice to have, people that I already knew, which kind of made my experience a little more comfortable because I was like, okay, I'm surrounded by people that I already know. But then I realized, I want to step out of my comfort zone and reach out to people from various departments. And I think my rotations enabled me to make those connections. But also it kind of pushed me to be like, okay, I'm going to do something that I'm not comfortable with and schedule a meeting with a director or a CEO or a manager that I know will make me step out of my comfort zone. But I think I enjoyed it in that sense. And especially at the end of the internship, they take all of us down to corporate, which is in Orlando, Florida. And there it was also nice to have those skills already kind of developed from the beginning of the summer when meeting new interns and kind of networking with the other people from corporate, which was a great thing to have. And I think it also helps that I like talking to people. I like meeting people. So that was a nice thing to add on to that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm like, because I know that that's a big thing. I mean, like, because you come to a large company and it's like, whoa, like, these are adults,
Yeah.
and they know what they're doing because they've been doing it for a long time. But people are now asking you questions, and you have to. Did you feel like, man, I have to have all the answers, or were you more so of I'm gonna ask questions, or did you just try to figure things out?
I'm a very curious person, so I was asking a lot of questions throughout a lot of the summer, especially I think the program that AdventHealth has for the internship, I really, really like it because they encourage you to be curious. They always motivate you to ask questions, and they say, you guys are new, you're still learning, it's okay to ask. And I think that was very comforting to know, especially coming in, not knowing a lot about, the medical terminology or even like the medical procedures or like a lot of how costs work in a hospital. It was really nice to have, and all the executives were very open to answering all those questions, which made me want to ask more questions, which was really nice. And that's something that I really loved about the corporate culture at AdventHealth, is that they know that you're constantly learning, but they're also there to support you through that learning process.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, they do have a really good program. I think they do allow for people to grow, and that's possibly why, there are people who are VPs at very young ages because they're learning from that younger time when they were interns. So yeah, they do have a really good program there. So is there any project that you're working on that you could possibly talk about, or that you were very proud about? If you have one, you can share.
Yeah, so something that I liked about being in the Chicago area is that there was 4 of us and there was 4 hospitals. So we were able to be very involved in all the projects, and our residents did an amazing job in getting us involved and like assigning us to different projects that they say they would be working on, but instead they gave it to us. So we were all able to lead one project. And I think it was really cool because we worked a lot with like facilities, constructions, and the operation side of things, which was a lot of learning, a lot of kind of how the building looked like, more the logistical side of the operations.
Is there one that you were extremely proud of?
Yeah, so the residents did a great job at assigning us projects, and then they also encouraged us to go out of our way and seek new projects to work on and, ask and if we could get involved in different activities around the hospital. So the hospitals that I was at, they were doing a lot of rebranding because they had just gone through a merger with University of Chicago. So it was really cool to work on a lot of that from the marketing side as well as the operations side. We worked a lot with facilities too, and all of us got to lead out a project.
You're fine.
Oh.
Just keep going.
Oh, okay. So that was a really cool experience, and I got to learn a lot and also work with my peers, which was another bonus.
Okay, that's really great.
Thank you.
So, I mean, when you guys weren't working, right, on those projects, what did you do? What was your, like, after, you worked your 9 to 5, what was your, 5 to 9? What did that look like for you guys?
5 to 9. So we tried going to the gym.
Okay.
We got a membership and we would try to like keep each other motivated.
Hmm.
Or if not, I really enjoyed running around the neighborhood. We lived in Hinsdale, so it's a really pretty neighborhood, and
Yeah.
there was lots of parks around, or we would go get ice cream. I was also doing classes during the summer, so sometimes I would have to kind of, designate some time in the afternoon to do homework and turn in projects and go through lectures. But it was just a really fun experience. We also got close with our resident advisors, and we were able to spend time with them and go to church with them, which was a nice kind of community event that we got to meet their friends also, and they really made us feel included and like we belong there. So
Wow.
hmm
That's that's interesting. You did classes while doing your internship.
yeah,
How did you manage? Well, how many classes did you take?
I was taking 2 online classes.
Wow.
So it was general credits that I needed.
Mhm.
And honestly, it wasn't bad to manage, I think, because I was able to go to work in the mornings and then I would come home, and what I was learning about was very interesting to me. So it didn't really feel like, oh, I have to do classes or schoolwork. It
Mhm.
was more like, oh, okay, like let me tackle this and get along. And then also I would use Sunday to go work on homework and kind of get ahead on the work that I had to get done during the week so that I could spend more time in the hospital throughout the week and working on projects, which was, I don't know, it felt pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow. That it takes a lot though. That does take a lot. So that says something a lot about your work ethic for
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you.
So when it comes back to just like the work, um, was there, say a moment that you felt like, man, maybe I'm out of my depth? Um, and were there anybody that you work with? Was there anybody that you worked with that sort of helped you uh, be able to, build your confidence a little, or were you just always like, "Nah, I'm fine"?
Oh no, there was definitely moments where I was like, I have no idea what's going on right
Yeah.
now. Especially when I was shadowing the clinical side of things,
Mhm.
talking to nurses and talking to doctors and hearing them talk about all this medical terminology and insurances, and a lot of kind of how medications work and pharmacies and all of that. It was completely new to me. But I think what really motivated me and pushed me was the kind of I like learning. So asking all those questions, and even though there were times where I was like, I have no idea what's happening, there was always somebody there to answer. Or my resident advisors, Nate and Bob, they were always willing to like have a one-on-one and go through topics that like, okay, like I don't know how insurances work, and they would be like, okay, so they would explain it. Or even like the executives, the directors, the nurses, they would take time out of their day and really sit down and kind of help me understand. And on top of that, it was nice to have, resources like the internet. So
Yeah.
anytime I
No, of
didn't
course.
know
Yeah.
what was happening, I could just pull up my phone and like Google it, like, oh, what is this? And then kind of go from that. But I think I really enjoyed that because, it proved that it pushed me out of my comfort zone. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like, oh, I'm just here vibing. Instead, like I'm here learning and like pushing myself. And it's an industry that I really am passionate for. So I think it was a great experience overall.
So you worked with Nate Greenhaw.
Yes.
It's a classmate of mine.
hmm
Wow. Okay. That's really cool. I'm glad that, shout out to Nate.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out to Nate. Um, but I'm gonna also ask you just about, when it came to that, right? Do you feel as if uh, the internship made you realize, like, yeah, like I do want to be here, like management's my thing? I heard you mention you worked along with the marketing, the rebranding.
hmm
Um, so seeing how all the different majors or just all the different lines of study uh like sometimes mesh
hmm
so much. uh was there any time when you were like, man, maybe I should do something else? Or was it just the whole time like, yeah, management is this is where I want to be?
What I liked specifically about the management track during my internship was that we got to work on a lot of very broad projects.
Okay.
So they involved us, like I mentioned, in marketing, in management. I even got to do a project with HR.
Hmm.
So it was very like well-rounded that it really kind of gave me a wider perspective of like, okay, this is what this department does, this is what this department does. But I think overall it also taught me that like, okay, I need to be well balanced out in all the areas, because even if I end up working for management or for HR or for marketing, like I kind of have to understand how all the other departments work. And even within that department, I can use all the skills that I learned from the marketing classes, from the management classes, even finance classes, accounting concepts that I'm like, oh yeah, like maybe I won't use this as much. I ended up actually using things, or it was very useful to have that knowledge in order to understand things better.
Yeah.
So I think I do like management. To answer your question, I do really like the management side, but I'm also very open to understanding and learning about other departments.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big thing about in the future of being a manager, having to understand how all these other, fields work, and also in how these different departments, how they function, the different types of personalities also exist within the different departments, because then it gives you the ability to be a little bit more relatable, because you understand people for who they are and what they do, compared to just seeing everyone as just as like an employee.
Exactly.
Right? You understand like their strong suits and their weaknesses and the things that they're, really good at, and that can help you also delegate in the future as well.
And kind of going off of what you're saying, so part of the curriculum for the internship was they helped us understand our strengths better, to build on those in the future. So we also read a book, The 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, and it kind of taught us, okay, these are my strengths, how can I build on these, but also how can I be more of an effective leader by applying these habits into my daily work that I do. So that was an amazing thing also, to understand myself better, but also understand others around me better.
And I'm sure that helps a lot now with Enactus.
Yes, definitely.
I was told a student in a past episode that asked me about what's something that I think for leadership to help me as a president or just in general. And I think that understanding people's strong suits, seeing where people are and what you're strong, what you're not strong at, what you can learn from them, what you can take from them is what makes you better at leading, because then people also understand, you care to see me also win. You care to see me do things. So it's good that you got that experience as well, and I'm sure you've been able to use it properly for your club now.
And it was also great talking to leaders about, how are you an effective leader? Like, how did you get to where you are today? And understanding their journey and all the growth that they also had to go through. Like, they were very open to sharing and kind of also giving advice of like, okay, you have to understand your people, but most importantly, listen to the people you're leading. And I remember one of the habits, it was like, seek first to understand and then to be understood. And that's something that I really saw a lot of the leaders applying, especially through meetings or through more, I guess, complicated situations. They always were willing to listen before actually speaking.
It's true. Yeah. It's probably gonna be the last question. But so say imagine there's a high schooler that you're talking to. He's asking you about why internships are important, and you just want to give them, one little piece of advice about internships and about, and this could even be for a freshman or someone that's a senior that doesn't even have an internship. Give them a little bit of, why you think they're important and the value of them as well.
Yeah. I think the biggest advice I would have is, if there's an area that interests you, or maybe you're passionate about, I don't know, sports or healthcare or retail, whatever it is, try to find an internship in that area, because it'll really help you determine whether it's for you or not, which is something great because it really pushes you also out of your comfort zone. But I think if it's the area that you want to be in, it's good to know that before actually getting a job and then not liking your job in the future. And that's something that they really encouraged us to determine. Is like, okay, at least for my experience, is like, is healthcare for you or not? If it's not, it's okay. But if it is, we'll help you grow and develop in it. And really making those connections and understanding, like, people's journeys will help you a lot in your career. But also it'll push you to grow, and you can learn a lot from whatever internship you do. Whether you end up liking it or not, you still learn a lot about leadership, about effective communication, about teamwork, about collaborating, and even things that connect amongst various sorts of industries when relating to marketing, HR, management. Like, anything you learn from one internship, you could take it into the job that you want to do. So definitely my advice is do it. Sign up for all the internships you can get, and go in with the best possible attitude of wanting to learn and wanting to be pushed out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. All right, guys. So yeah, take Paulette's advice for sure, and just go look for internships. And if you can't find one online, walk into a company.
Yes.
And see if they're looking for an intern. And there's so many opportunities to grow as a professional. I think is the most important thing. And sometimes it's not just about that, industry that you want to be in, but just as a professional, how to move into the world. And yeah.
Definitely. Go apply right now.
Yeah.
Pause this video and go apply.
But yeah, that's the end of this interview. And just want to say thank you for listening. And
thank you for
to
having
Paulette.
me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
If you found this episode helpful, share with your friends and colleagues. Our podcast streams on all platforms that carry a podcast. Follow us on social media. Stay up to date on our new projects. Your engagement and support make a significant impact. Until next time, keep exploring, stay inspired, and remember, together we can shape the future of business.